Okay, hi everybody, welcome. I hope we are audible and visible. Been some time since we've come on the YouTube channel. It's been some time. In fact, probably the first strategy session, so-called strategy session we are taking for CAT 25. And it's been ages since Ravi has come onto the YouTube channel. So, hi Ravi, welcome back.
Hi, hi GB. How are you?
All good. And congratulations to those who are unaware. Ravi now is a proud papa of not one, but three kids. So,
Yeah,
not a lot of sleep for sure.
yeah,
Okay, so
absolutely. I
guys,
mean, hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Just like cat, you should start early in life. Also, that's what I have done. It makes sense to me.
start early and stay ahead, right? That's
Yes.
the premise, and that's basically what the essence of today's session is, guys. Welcome. Just confirm on the chat box that we are audible and visible, please. A couple of yeses will ensure that we know everything's fine, or a CC here or there, which means crystal clear. Would love to see a couple of such comments so that we can go ahead and kickstart. While we're waiting for that, just want to go ahead and let you all know exactly what the agenda is. Thanks for that, Vasu. Waiting for a few more. So the agenda of today's session is as follows. We want to go a little deeper into mock tests. Now, a lot of you might be thinking we still have roughly around 9 odd months to go to CAT. CAT is expected to be what I think on the 30th of November this year, considering it's always on the last Sunday. So that
Hmm.
means you've got roughly about 9 months or so. So कैलकुलेट करेंगे यू विल गेट अबाउट 280 to 85 odd days, right? तो अभी सोच रहे होगे मॉक कहाँ से उठ के आया. आई स्टिल आई ओनली yesterday आई गॉट टू नो द फुल फॉर्म ऑफ कैट, और आज ये लोग बोल रहे हैं मॉक टेस्ट लेना है. ये पता नहीं कौन से पागल लोग हैं कहाँ से उठ के आ गए. But the essence actually is, and that is what data is actually corroborating as well, is generally those who start early and those who use assessment as a tool early in their preparation cycle always tend to find the preparation cycle a little easier. I'm not going to turn around and say jaldi shuru karoge tabhi successful hoge. We're not stating that. We're talking about it being probabilistically higher. We always turn around and state यार कॉलेज से तो ड्रॉप आउट इतने लोगों ने किया है, बिल गेट्स ने किया है, जुकरबर्ग ने किया है, इसने किया है, उसने किया है. डज दैट मीन दैट एवरीबॉडी शुड ड्रॉप आउट ऑफ कॉलेज एंड नॉट स्टडी? Probabilistically the chance is low that you will be successful. Some have done it, but probability states that there is a lower chance that you'll be successful without doing that. In the same way, corollary, you start early, there is a higher chance that you will be successful. That's basically the premise, and this is data that we wanted to bring to your disposal today. Go ahead and talk a little bit about why kickstarting early makes sense. And you got two of us, probably two of the youngest people in the CL academic fraternity, who've ourselves not written CAT very long back. It's been roughly about 10 years for me. Ravi, what, about 7 years, 6 years?
14. So
14, so 10 years. Oh, so I,
yeah,
I was actually 11, so 13 years. I didn't even realize अभी भी 10 चल रहा है. So 13 years and 10 years respectively. Obviously we do write CAT every year, but we just felt it's important to come and talk a little bit about why kickstarting early is going to go ahead and help you. And just take it forward from there. Ravi, couple of things that you would want to add right up front before we kickstart.
yeah. Basically, see, GB. What happens is what I've seen over the years of training students is they come with a precursor. They come with a notion that I will start taking test, I will start assessing myself only after I have finished a particular part of the syllabus or a particular part of the course, at least if not everything. That is primarily going to be the talking point for a long time in this session, for the longest time in this session. Also, when GB says that we are the youngest, don't judge us by don't just judge GB by his hair or me by my
Lack of
beard.
it,
We are
or lack
actually
of
the
it.
youngest in the team.
Okay, so couple of things, and I want to kickstart with probably Ishita's question. So, do you think it's too late to score well? This reminds me of a couple of those threads on Reddit. आता है. I am a 24-year-old software engineer who's just gotten a job of 95 lakhs in Bangalore. Is it too little to survive? and then you get 3 or 5 meme replies on that. But jokes apart, Ishita, obviously it is not too late to start. It's probably the ideal time to go ahead and kickstart. And I understand that some of you all would be pursuing graduation alongside, some of you all would be working alongside, which is why kickstarting early is actually necessary. And we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about, the right time to go ahead and kickstart, and what a delay of even 45 days or 60 days might actually imply in terms of a preparation journey. That and much, much more that we're going to talk about. So quickly, if I go ahead and have a look at this, what are the elements to cover? The importance of mocks, why you should be writing mocks. एक चीज, और ये everybody here who catches this live today or catches this in a recorded format after this, आज के बाद ये मत कभी बोलना I gave a mock. You either write it or you take it. One simple grammar lesson, ये स्नैप में या एनमैट में कहीं पे उठ के आ जाएगा. Please keep this in mind for the rest of your life. Okay, so ensure that you why you should be taking or writing mocks, why you should kickstart early, certain do's and don'ts, the CAT 2025 timelines, what are the important dates to keep in mind, the mock schedule that you should be going ahead and following, and then why exactly people, students go ahead and choose career launcher in terms of mocks, and what is it that we bring onto the table for each of you in terms of the elements and the features of the mock that you should go ahead and look at. Okay, and finally the Q&A. Purvi is saying, would you suggest taking test series as early as possible? No questions asked, Purvi, about that. And we're going to delve deeper into that. So we'll pick up all your questions in due course. Let's quickly kickstart with a couple of things that, are hopefully going to keep you in good stead. First and foremost, what is the importance of mocks? And Ravi had almost touched upon this ever so slightly. यार हम लोग बैठ के बोलते हैं कि हमें सिलेबस करना है, जबकि कैट को अगर थोड़ा सा बैठ के एनालाइज करोगे, आप रियलाइज करोगे probably as important, or if not more important, and if not more as important alongside syllabus, is going to be कैसे लिखना है ये exam, the strategy of writing this exam. This is why it's a complete game changer, this exam. It's very different from any other exam you've written till date. You would have heard even in JE and all, people getting full marks. In CAT, a 99 percentile is generally less than 50% of the total marks. So please keep that in mind. To be in the top 1% of India, you will score less than 50% of the total marks. To be in the top 0.5% of India, you will probably be scoring 60% of the total marks or maybe lesser. So that's a very important thing, and which is why it becomes very important to know what not to attempt as much as it is important to know what is attempt. Finally, it helps you building your test taking strategy, and obviously the quicker you start, the earlier you start, exam day anxiety nahi hogi, exposure thoda zyada hoga. Ravi, over to you. Why don't you take us through the CAT score versus percentile, something that we've delved on quite a bit.
Yeah. So initially, when most students start their preparation for the CAT, they at least have this idea that I have to score a very high percentile. I have to score above upwards of 95th or 96th, 97th percentile to be in the top B schools in India. And if I have to be in the absolute top, you already know you have come with this information. There is enough information everywhere floating saying that you are looking at a 99.6 plus kind of a score if you want to percentile, if you want to get into colleges like I am, Ahmedabad, Bangalore and Calcutta. But what seldom sources tell is how does this percentile actually map with the scores that you need to score in the exam, with the marks that you need, percentage of marks that you need to score in the exam. First of all, let me clear this out. Percentile is very different from percentage. Percentage marks is तुम्हारा जितना आया divided by total marks of the exam. Percentile is तुम्हारा जो rank आया उससे कम कितने लोग हैं, मतलब कि how better have you performed as compared to everyone else in the exam. That is what is your percentile in that essence. And as GB was saying, percentile for a 99th percentile, what you have to score is roughly close to about 50% marks in the exam. So if you look at CAT 2024 itself, which had a change in pattern, by the way, till 2021, 2022 and 23, the 3 years before CAT 2024, more or less the paper was of similar level of difficulty. More or less the paper had a similar pattern with 1 or 2 tweaks here and there in VRC, one particular type of question appearing, not appearing. Those kind of things were happening. But the pattern changed ever so slightly in CAT 2024, especially in the DILR section. And that is where the level of difficulty also came a little down. But you otherwise, if you look at it, you can see that consistently, if you look at the row corresponding to the 99th percentile in CAT 2021, out of 198 marks, it was close to about only 44%. In CAT 2022, it was 82.5 marks, which is close to only about 40%. Less than 40% in CAT 2023, and close to about 50%, close to about 48% again in CAT 2024. So what GB is saying is absolutely right. This is what the data also suggests. So if you are someone who is aiming that 99th percentile, that means you are aiming to be in the top 1% people in the country. All you need to get, all you need to score is about 50% marks in the exam. That is what CAT data consistently tells us. But don't take it for the easy, don't take my words in a fashion that you understand, that you interpret that CAT is easy. When I say you have to score 50% of the marks, you'll probably end up attempting 65% of the marks, and you'll end up scoring 50% of the marks. But why is it that GB has been stressing on this point of starting early is that you never will know or understand what you are prepping for unless you have taken a test and assessed it yourself. It's just like army training. आर्मी में जाके वहां पे युद्ध होगा, वॉर होगा, नहीं होगा, no one knows. कब होगा, no one knows. But the day one in army training, they will have to start with all those barricades, and they'll do all different types of exercises, they'll do all different types of challenges and missions. That is basically what mock tests are when it comes to CAT preparation. So typically, if you look at it, score versus percentile, roughly about 50% score in the CAT is a safe score for to put you in the top 1% people in the country, that is in the 99th percentile or above. And a score of close to 60% is almost a guaranteed 99.5 plus percentile across the years. That is what CAT trends suggest. Over to you, GB.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely spot on. I'll pick up two questions here. So, Sikuze ML. Okay, I love it. AIs बहुत weird नाम के सुने थे, अब ML भी हम weird नाम के सुनेंगे. Okay, so Sikuze ML is basically asking, so what about 10 and 12 marks? Does it matter? So guys, I want to make a couple of things very, very clear. There are two things and you need to bifurcate them in your mind. Number one is मेरे को किस percentile पे call आएगा? At which percentile can I get calls from specific B schools? We've got a tool called the IM Profilizer, the MBA Profilizer. Go ahead and utilize that. It'll let you know. But let me make a couple of things very, very clear upfront. What are the parameters that actually matter? Your class 10 scores, your class 12 scores, your undergraduation scores, work experience if you have any. Not a lot of weightage. Maximum weightage is given by Bangalore and Shillong. The other colleges don't look at it as deeply as these two colleges. Okay, so it's not going to be a game changer. Now, the things that come in. Gender, you can't do anything about that, right? I'm sure you're not going ahead and looking at certain drastic measures to take a call related to your gender. So, done and dusted. Academic diversity, you can't do anything about that either, which means you're an engineer or a non-engineer, you've done science, you've done BCom, you've done BSc mathematics honors, जो भी आपने किया है वो आप already कर चुके हो, वो भी change नहीं हो सकता. So look at the things in your control. 10 you can't do anything, 12 you can't do anything. You can't do anything with respect to your gender, you can't do anything with respect to academic diversity. The only thing in your control now is undergraduation work experience. So some of you who are still in college, this is why you need to start early, because you need to focus on your college studies as well. You need to spend time on that. You need to ensure you get a 75% there and 80% there if it is possible. Depends from college to college, right? So that is important. Hence, you start early with respect to your CAT preparation. You will have greater probability of being able to handle both. In case you're not there and you're working, once again, you need to start early because you'll be spending 8 hours a day in office, maybe 10 hours a day. ट्रैवलिंग अप एंड डाउन 10 to 12 आवर्स तो वहीं चले गए. उसके अलावा 6-7 आवर्स तो सो गए, 7 आवर्स सोए, 1-2 घंटे और रेस्ट किए. यू आर लेफ्ट विद ओनली 4 hours a day. From today till CAT, you are left with only 4 hours a day to prep. Hence, please be very clear about the parameters that actually matter. These are the only parameters. Anybody coming and telling you, यार NGO में काम कर लो, ये हो जाएगा, internship कर लो, मिलेगा, All of this does not matter. These parameters are not taken into consideration when calls are, when final calls come out from these top IIMs and the top B schools. So that's point one. So 10 and 12 agar kharab hai, which is the only way to make it up? By scoring an extremely high percentile. I'm not saying 10 and 12 अगर 70s में है तो आपका 99.8 के बाद कॉल आ जाएगा, हो सकता है ना है. You might need a 99.95 plus. My profile, I was 88, 89.6 and 64 in undergraduation, 64.6. After this, I knew in order to get a call from IIM Ahmedabad, I needed a 99.95 plus. I worked towards it. The goal was always go ahead and get a call. जाना है कि नहीं दूर की बात है. So I'll be very, very clear. It is not going to be easy if your profile is not good. But the only way in which you can overcome that is through a very, very, very high percentile. 99.4 might not cut it. 99.8 might not cut it. You might need a 99.95 plus. We are not here to go ahead and lie. We are not here to go ahead and make up stories, concoct stories. नहीं हो जाएगा. नहीं. यहां से कॉल चाहिए तो इतना चाहिए होगा. Yes, there will be a couple of colleges. There will be an FMS. जहां अगर आपका प्रोफाइल उतना अच्छा नहीं है 99.5 99.6 पे भी हो सकता है. There will be an Excel आ रहा है जहां 10 12 अंडर ग्रेजुएशन वो नहीं देखते, ZAT के थ्रू आपका वहां भी हो सकता है. There will be 2 or 3 such colleges. Okay. However, if I'm looking at it, once again going back to the concept of probability, if I'm looking at the larger picture, a very, very high percentile in CAT will give you a higher probability of going ahead and getting a greater number of calls. Point one, let's keep it aside. Point two, today's discussion is now aimed at every single one of you. If you're one of those jiska 10 12 undergraduation 90 plus 90 plus 80 plus hai, vis-a-vis if you're one of those jiska 10 12 undergraduation maybe 70 70 and 60 hai, aap dono ke liye utna hi important hai. With a 90 90 and 80 plus also, if you're a gem, you still need a 99.8 plus. If with a 90 90 80 plus, if you're a female also, for this year IIM Calcutta, you still needed a 99.2 plus. So the percentile cutoffs are only going up because a greater number of people are writing the exam. Seats उतने ही है तो percentile cutoff obviously higher जाएगा. Same number of seats के लिए मेरे को उतने लोगों को call अगर करना है. So please keep these things in mind. Okay, so that's point one. Point two, I saw a couple of you all saying यार DLR में problem हो रही है, DLR का क्या करे? DLR 1000 कब आएगा? Well, you're talking to 2 of the 3 people who actually focus on DLR here, DLR 1000, which is GP, Ravi and me. We are already in the works of, creating the DLR 1000 program. Hopefully it will be released in early March. Early to mid-March, DLR 1000 will be released. We are trying to release it at least 4 months earlier than we did last year because we know that was a course which was helpful. The feedback that we received was very positive. So we are, our aim is to go ahead and help as many of you all as possible. Okay. Can you also talk about subject-wise weightage too? There is no subject-wise weightage in terms of the CAT paper. If you're looking at it, it's basically 24, 22, 22 now. Last year's paper, which means VARC, DILR and quant. That's the weightage. Okay. If you're an engineering student in your final year, I've already answered that. So I'm guessing we've done that. So do you think mocks and heavy test-based preparation is enough to get scores? And we'll talk about that going forward because you're almost turning around and stating, मैं खाली जाके रणजी ट्रॉफी में मैच खेलूं तो उसके बेसिस पे मैं इंडियन क्रिकेट टीम के लिए खेल पाऊंगा ना. मैं ना तो प्रैक्टिस सेशंस करूंगा, ना मैं वर्कआउट करूंगा, ना खाने पे ध्यान दूंगा, कुछ नहीं करूंगा, खाली रणजी ट्रॉफी खेलूंगा. रणजी ट्रॉफी के मैच से पहले भी प्रैक्टिस नहीं करूंगा, बीच में भी नहीं करूंगा, वर्कआउट भी नहीं करूंगा, कुछ नहीं करूंगा. So I think you would have probably gotten your answer there itself. Getting a little deeper into the section-wise thing, Ravi spoke about it from a holistic perspective in terms of CAT over the last few years. Section-wise, I think this is something a couple of you all might be asking or might have been asking. This is where it becomes important. And I want you to have a look at this slide alongside this. So first look at this slide. If I look at the sectional cutoff, now please keep this in mind, this is cutoff. Matlab, itne percentile agar aa gaye, if you score this percentile, you are eligible to be considered by the IIM. It doesn't mean you will get a call. You are now in the consideration pool. If you score less than this, you're not even in the consideration pool. Okay? So look at the sectional cutoffs. If you want to get a call from all of them or be considered by all of them, 85 percentile is needed in VARC, 85 in DILR, 85 in quant, because IIM Lucknow has 85, 85, 85. as the sectionals and 90 overall. So let us assume at this point in time, all of us want all calls. So minimum worst case scenario, what score or what percentile do I need? I need 85 in each section and 90 overall. If I need 85 in every section, what did that translate to last year? And 85 percentile last year in VARC was 20. Okay. And 85 percentile in DILR was 19 and 85 percentile in quant was 14. Now, if I were to have a look at this over the last 3 to 4 years, an 85 percentile in quant, you can almost be rest assured you will get at a score of 14-15 basis the last 3 years. इस साल बहुत इजी पेपर आ जाए, एकदम ही इजी 2018 कैट जैसा, where class 7 के मैथ टॉपिक आ गए थे, suddenly 85 percentile में move to a 24 also. So never turn around, and we will also never turn around and state यही होगा हर साल. We are not going to go ahead and do that, but we are going to turn around and tell you again what the last 3-4 years have gone ahead and showcased to us. So basis the last 3 to 4 years, if you're able to do about 5 questions net correct in quant, sectional handled. In DILR similarly, last year suddenly we saw a jump. देखो 85 percentile 19 हो गया. इससे पहले 3-4 साल हम बोलते थे 15, मतलब एक सेट कर लिया, more than enough. Last year, like Ravi was pointing out some time back, they changed the paper pattern, became 22 questions. We always state this. When the paper pattern changes, the LOD generally falls a little. And it did. It fell a little in DILR, especially in slot 1. And I think both of us were in slot 1. So we categorically came out and stated, DILR to thoda easier tha. So it fell down. That is why 19 marks chahiye the. Which means more than one set was needed. आपको 2 sets में तो घुसना पड़ेगा ही. Okay, and then you move to verbal. Once again, it was 20 marks. So even from a sectional perspective, look at where it was. The interesting thing I want you to notice, add the 85 percentiles across the 3 sections. 20 plus 19 is 39, plus 14 is 53. Overall देखोगे तो 53 कितना था? Overall, if you have a look at, 53 was roughly around 88 percentile or so. As you can see, 90 percentile पे 57 था. So 85, 85, 85 gave you roughly around an 88 percentile. Generally, I would say 85, 85, 85 is knocking on the door to a 90. इस बार वो कम क्यों गया? Again, because of the LOD. So that became important. But this is again something to keep in mind. And the only takeaway I want you all to have from this is minimum percentile I need across sections to be eligible to get a call from all of the top colleges is 85, 85, 85. And overall is 90. That's the important thing to keep in mind. Yeah, Ravi, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah. So some of you who have been already preparing for more than 2-3 months, if you have been, right, then you need to understand where you stand in terms of your preparation. And probably just like GB has added 85, 85, 85, can you add 95, 95 and 95 and see? When you add all the 395s, you're talking about less than 50% questions in each of the sections. When you add 95s, you add 22 marks, 28 marks, and 30 marks overall, which translates to 80 marks, where we are knocking on the door of 98s now. That is where you get considered by, if not the top notch IIMs, absolute top IIMs, at least by the newer IIMs, right? Even if you have a thoda sa davadol profile, you may be considered there. So that is where you should ideally start thinking you should be, right? Because you have a lot of time. If I was doing this session in September and you were only starting while filling the form of the CAT, I would say look at 85, 85, 85, but try to get to that 95 level in each of the section, and probably even one of the sections gets into 99 for you. Then a 99 added with a couple more 95 is going to take you well above 99 percentile. That is what you have to notice.
Absolutely spot on, Ravi. I'll pick up a couple of questions here. Love Lakera is saying, say, any information about VRC 1000? We're working hard. Jijo's working hard on that as well. Hopefully March, if not April for sure. Okay, DILR 1000 may, can you also go ahead and include other MBA tests in DILR 1000? Yes, this year what we're doing is we're DILR 1000 is becoming bigger and better. We are looking at releasing it across about 4 phases, where the last phase is only going to be the non-CAT exam. That means ZAT, NMAT, SNAP, us pe bhi complete focus hoga. So DILR 1000 is not just going to be oriented to CAT, it's going to be oriented to all the MBA entrances. So yeah. Thank you for responding. Just one more. Would DLR 1000 alone be sufficient? It depends on where you are in your preparation. Like Ravi pointed out earlier, if you're already one of those who has written CAT, last year or year before that, and you know that I'm in a situation where 85 percentile, 90 percentile, तो आ ही जाता है हर साल DLR में, basics are in place. Yes, only this along with mocks might work. If you're one of those who wants to start from the absolute basics, the basic building blocks, you might want to go ahead and do more, right? You might want to look at a full-fledged course as well, and this could be supplementary to that. Okay, sir, ideally what is the right time to start doing mocks? Ishit, I told you it's taking or writing, neither doing nor giving. Okay, like after how much time of preparation? So yeah, abhi thoda time hai. That is exactly what today's session is all about. We have an entire section on that, so little time and we'll get to that, Ishita. Okay, so DLR 1000 will come out in March. Yes, it will. Okay, आगे बढ़ते हैं. This, like I pointed out, is basic eligibility criteria. So do keep this in mind. Do take a screenshot of this. Now the important question: why start early? And this is something that somebody was asking. So this is basically the way I look at it. Both of us are math-oriented individuals. So we've broken down preparation into math. ठीक है? मैं बोल रहा हूं आज हम लोग बैठे 18th फेब पे. अज्यूम करते हो आप 20th फेब से शुरू करते हो 2 दिन बाद. वहां से लेके 30th of November तक you're basically looking at roughly 6700 to 6800 hours. For your CAT prep, on an average, we turn around and state 1000 hours is good. Because basics करने हैं, concepts करने हैं, mocks करने हैं, mock analysis करना है, video solutions देखने हैं, multiple topic test लेने हैं, sectional test लेने हैं, multiple चीजें करनी हैं. And suddenly in between, in the month of August, September, you'll realize, oh my God, everything is spent on CAT. There is something called NMAT, which is going to start in October. There is something called SNAP, which will happen 15 days after CAT. There is something called ZAT, which will happen 15 days after that. And you will realize, oh, I have not done anything oriented to that. Hence, you will realize कि actually time काफी लगाना है. So 1000 hours is generally what we state. अब अगर मेरे को 1000 hours लगाने हैं, this is how generally we turn around and state you break up those 1000 hours. Like I stated, think of concepts. When I say concepts, it doesn't mean basics khali. It means anything. It means not only the building blocks, but say, for example, Venn diagram में 2 parameter Venn diagram and 3 parameter Venn diagram आपका building block हो गया. लेकिन Venn diagram के through maxima minima करना, वो एक higher level learning है, वो भी एक concept है. So higher level building blocks, everything is a concept. You build on top of it, build on top of it, build on top of it. Linear arrangement, you start with arrangement and concept, you start with linear, you will end with matrix level. So उसमें multiple level होगा. वो matrix movie जितना ही complicate बना सकते हैं अगर बनाना है. But at the end of the day, every single thing is conceptual. So we turn around and say 60% of your time will be spent in concepts, 40% of your time will be spent in assessment. So 60% learning, 40% assessment. That's generally how you bifurcate it. Also, one very, very important part, and I'm sure Ravi will actually second me, third me, fourth me on all of this, which is, यार 2 घंटे का जो मॉक होता है ना, एनालिसिस करने में बहुत टाइम लगता है, और एनालिसिस में क्या क्या पैरामीटर्स होते हैं, बहुत सारे होते हैं, which is something that we'll talk about as well. So don't think, oh, मेरे को 30 mocks लिखने हैं, that's 60 hours done. Every single mock is going to be followed by an in-depth analysis. For each mock, you're going to be provided video solutions for every question. For your CDC pros, some of them you'll be provided video attempts as well. You will be urged to go ahead and try solving every single question on your own again before looking at the video solution. So there are multiple things that you will need to do in the post mock in terms of analysis. So hence we generally turn around and state rule of thumb hota hai 2.5 to 3 times the time of a mock is what you spend on analysis. So if you spend about 5 to 6 hours on analysis, that's about 7 to 8 hours for a mock. And then after that, you've got topic tests, sectional tests, and much, much more. So that's how you bifurcate 1000 hours. Now the important part. If you start in February, it is 1000 out of 6720. Let's say 1000 out of 6700 or 6800. That's 15% of the total time. So 15% of total time is same as 15% of every single day, right? So you got 24 hours every day, 15% of that, you are roughly looking at about 3.5 hours. Roughly looking at 3.5 hours. Suddenly you turn around and say, मैं अभी नहीं करूंगा, मैं April mid से शुरू करूंगा, 2 महीने बाद. It suddenly becomes 1000 out of 5400 hours. You're suddenly looking at 4.5 hours per day. And then in case some of you turn around and state, no, I'm expecting a few calls, while I won't take it, I'll prepare for the interviews of those calls, and मैं May June में शुरू करूंगा. June में शुरू करते हो, it is 1000 out of 3800 hours, which means 26% of total time, which is 6.5 hours per day. Now if you're going to be one of those who is, I'm guessing June hai to college mein nahi hoge, so either you're working or not doing anything. So if you're working, that's about 10-12 hours a day. You're sleeping for about 6-7 hours, 1-2 घंटे बीच में, 17-18 hours gone. So पूरे 6 घंटे ही है आपके पास, 6.5 घंटे लगाना है. मतलब जिंदगी में और कुछ करने का मौका ही नहीं है. You have absolutely nothing else at your disposal, and you don't want to be in a situation like that. That is why we turn around and state start early, because we also want you to love yourself and respect yourself. In between you need a break, in between you need to watch the Champions Trophy, you need to hope that CL bleeds blue, you bleed blue, and India wins the World Cup. You need to hope that the next WTC cycle starts off well in England. You need to go ahead and watch 3 of your movies. You need to go out on a couple of dates. You need to go ahead and chill a little in life. वो सब अगर करना है काम के साथ, प्रेपरेशन के साथ, या अकेड्स के साथ, अगर आप कॉलेज में हो तो आपको टाइम चाहिए. दिस इज व्हाई यू नीड टू स्टार्ट अर्ली. देयर इज नो रॉकेट साइंस टू इट. Math is telling you the qualitative answer rather than the quantitative answer this time. So I just hope that you understand this part and it helps you a little bit.
Just
Yeah.
one thing, GB, to add here. When we say 600 hours of concepts, see, there is a very large misunderstanding in the market among students कि कॉन्सेप्ट पढ़ना, यानी मैंने वो बुक देखा, वो एक बुक है, वो बुक में मैंने देख लिया कि क्या है, कि प्रोपोर्शनैलिटी में क्वेश्चंस किस तरह के आते हैं, मैंने वो देख लिया, मैंने कर लिया प्रोपोर्शनैलिटी. ये तो वही वाली बात होगी कि व्हेन आई in school, GB, I remember when I was studying biology, chemistry during my 12th standard, organic chemistry, when my teacher was teaching it, I felt wow, amazing, right? In the class when I was sitting, I felt wow, I know everything, wow. In the exam in AI that year, I scored -3 in chemistry.
Again, wow, I know nothing.
because I felt I knew everything because of the way he was teaching. I felt captivated. अच्छा ये तो मेरे को समझ में आ रहा है. Where I failed is I did not practice enough. So when we say concepts, see, you learn 100 concepts, you learn 1,000 concepts of quant. It is no good if you have not practiced 100 questions each on each of the concepts. If you have, so instead of learning 1,000 concepts, learn those 100 concepts and start solving 100 questions on each of the concepts. That is where you actually start building your mental, because that is when you feel confident about a particular concept. So it is like घर में एक बॉल लटका के बैट मारते जा रहा हूँ, सिरा मैच में उतर गया, नहीं होता. You will have to play in the nets. You will have to face different types of balls at different paces and all, and only then you will be able to understand. So learning concepts through questions is utterly important to my mind, right? So when you are looking at, so okay, you will cover your basics of, let us say, profit, loss and discount. You have gone through the basics, but now delve into solving 30 questions of profit, loss and discount on multivariates alone. Then you will become a master of multivariates within profit, loss and discount. This is applicable to almost all topics. See, time, speed and distance, there are 20 different types of questions of time, speed and distance that you can expect in the CAT, right? You may be good at 15 of them, but not good at boats and streams and escalators. Grind till you become good at those topics, because these are topics that will definitely appear in the exam. You don't know कि कौन सा subtopic within that topic will be asked in the exam. You have time. Start now. Practice enough along with learning concepts. The other thing is, as GB correctly mentioned, those of you who are thinking हाँ जून से भी हो जाएगा या अप्रैल से भी हो जाएगा, don't forget, देखो अभी, those of you who want to start now also, don't forget there is a Champions Trophy, there is an IPL 2 महीने का पूरा, maybe Rohit Sharma's, Virat Kohli's last IPL, who knows. ठीक है, तो तुमको
Not the
देखने का,
IPL, but I'm quite sure maybe they've already played the last test or the last test is coming up. IPL तो और खेलेंगे.
yeah, right. Then after that, suddenly towards September, October, ये festival season start हो जाता है. You will never know कब time हाथ से निकल जा रहा है, right? So you would better safe than sorry. Start now. The good part about starting early is you need not start with giving 3.5 hours a day today. You can start with something as small as half an hour per section today. Build on it, build on it. Come to a level when you come to October, then you are probably spending 4 hours, 5 hours, or even 6 hours in your practice and mock tests and analysis. That is how you should pace it. Don't take it bluntly कि 3.5 hours हर दिन करना है. If you are starting right now, start off slow, but keep building on it. Keep adding that time frame every day. You keep adding 10 minutes to the work every week, half an hour to your work every week. That's how you progress towards success. Yeah.
So just a couple of things, guys. A lot of y'all on the session, over 100, 150 of y'all. Go ahead and do like the session if you feel that it is helping you a little. Go ahead and give a little bit of inspiration to the backend team who's going ahead and working hard on this. And while you're going ahead and do that, come and reply here कि ये कर दिया. I'll go ahead and pick up a couple of questions. Some of y'all are actually going ahead and talking about, when you talk about 600 hours of learning, is that in addition to the classes we attend? So no. So if you're attending classes at CL, hypothetically, say 150 sessions होंगे आपके CAT and non-CAT के मिला के, each of roughly about 1.5 to 2 hours, you can basically say 250 to 300 hours वहीं हो गए. Another 300 hours that you put in, which is what Ravi is talking about. Learning is not just happening in the class, it is happening pre and post class as well. You are doing something before entering class so that you are trying your level best कि आज जो क्लास में पढ़ाएंगे वो मुझे ज्यादा समझ आए. You are doing something after class कि जो पढ़ाया उसको मैं रिवाइज कर लूं ताकि नेक्स्ट टाइम जाने से पहले ये कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर हुआ है. So what Ravi is stating becomes very important. And then comes the 400 hours of going ahead and putting in practice. Now somebody asked, sir, can you explain a bit more about those 400 hours? I'll put it mathematically. 30 mocks मुझे लिखने हैं. Each mock 2 hour का है. मेरे को एनालाइज करने में 5 to 6 hours. Let's take 6 hours. That's 8 hours per mock that you are going ahead and spending. 2 plus 6. So 8 into 30, 240 hours तो वहीं हो गए. 160 बचे. Now don't you need to do topic tests, do sectional tests, do other formats of test? For example, I am solving mocks and I realized यार escalator वाले problem मुझसे नहीं होते. खाली escalator के topic test करो, my zone पे है. यार मैं ये सॉल्व कर रहा हूं, लीनियर अरेंजमेंट हो जाता है, लेकिन सर्कुलर अरेंजमेंट वाले सेट्स मुझसे नहीं होते. गो बैक टू माय जोन. सर्कुलर अरेंजमेंट में क्या प्रॉब्लम है? सॉल्व 10 सेट्स, सॉल्व 15 सेट्स. So that is exactly what we mean. So some of you all were also asking, where do we get this additional questions? It's all there in my zone. There is something called topic test. There is going to be something called sectional tests, which will start in roughly about a month and a half, 2 months time. There is going to be something called daily dose. Every single day you are going to get one question which is going to come in my zone across one of the sections. That is something that you should be looking at. So there is going to be a lot coming your way. So do go ahead and have a look at it. In addition to that, यार हम लोग sessions YouTube पे भी लेते रहते हैं. I don't know whether you know it or not. Every single day one session happens. Going forward, it might soon become every single day 2 sessions happening. That is additional content. Come solve those questions as well. So there is a plethora of content out there for you to solve. Go ahead and utilize it. Okay? Okay. Let's keep moving forward. This to me is a very important slide. I think the next 2 slides are very important. The way I look at it is, if I am kickstarting my preparation today, I would urge you to go ahead and write a mock right upfront. I think Utsav had gone ahead and stated, sir, मैंने वो पहला mock लिखा है और मेरे को 42 percentile आया. Now I am thinking मेरे को CAT भी लिखना चाहिए कि नहीं. Utsav, this slide is for you. Have a look at it. I am saying, if you just go ahead and prep enough to improve your attempt in a mock by one question overall every 45 days. मतलब समझो आज मैं mock लिख रहा हूं, मैं 6 से 7 क्वेश्चन सही कर पा रहा हूं. 45 डेज में क्या मैं इतना प्रेप कर सकता हूं, इतनी मेहनत कर सकता हूं, that from those 7 questions I move to just 8 questions, one additional question right. Then in another 45 days, can I get one more question right? 9 right. Another 45 days, one more question right, 10 right. So if every 45 days you can add just one question overall, not even section wise, just one more question to your kitty, a 40 percentile moves to 50, 50 moves to 59, 59 to 67, which moves to 74, 80, 84, and 88. That means just by adding one question every 45 days through your prep, a 40 percentile can move to an 88 percentile. That's the first thing. And I'm quite sure all of you know कि यार हर 45 डे में मैं इतना तो नहीं करूंगा, खाली एक क्वेश्चन होगा, हो सकता है फर्स्ट 45 डेज में उतना ही हो, नेक्स्ट 45 डेज में उतना हो, थर्ड में उतना हो, लेकिन फोर्थ फिफ्थ से थोड़ा एक्सपोनेंशियल ग्रोथ होगी, सडनली यू विल रियलाइज दो दो क्वेश्चन ऐड हो रहे, तीन तीन ऐड हो रहे हैं. So a 40 percentile moving to a 95, 98 percentile might take no time. It can surely happen over a period of about 6 months. Similarly, if you're one of those who scored a 60 percentile, 60 से आप 93 चले जाओगे हर 45 days में just one question. So this is a very important slide. This is data picked up from actual CAT, validated over the last 3 years. हर 3 साल में more or less ऐसा गया है. That is important. The second important thing that I want you all to go ahead and talk about. Oops, I think I missed it. Yeah, I missed it by mistake, I think. Did I? I think so. Yeah, so there is one more important thing that I want you to focus on, which is if you end up scoring a 50 percentile in your mock, what does that actually translate in the actual exam? Now there are two parts to it. ठीक है, एक part है कि we always know and we always state we are very close to the CAT exam. Data shows it as well. I'm sure your friends have told you about it. You heard it elsewhere. You've gone to Reddit and seen it. You've seen in Telegram groups. I'm keeping that aside. But irrespective of all of that, एक मॉक कितने बंदे लिखेंगे? 10,000, 20,000, 25,000. लेकिन कैट कितने लोग लिखते हैं? 3 लाख. अगर 35,000 लोग भी एक मॉक लिख दे, दैट इज स्टिल 1/10. उस 30,000 लोग में आपका 50 परसेंटाइल आएगा, 15,000 रैंक है. बाकी के 2,70,000 पीपल में हाउ मेनी आर एक्चुअल सीरियस एस्पिरेंट्स? हाउ मेनी पीपल आर एक्चुअली सीरियसली प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर कैट? हाउ मेनी ऑफ देम आर एक्चुअली राइटिंग कैट बिकॉज दे वर टोल्ड यार नेबर में सोनू है, उसका हो गया, आया अहमदाबाद में, तुम भी प्रेप करो. यार मेरी गर्लफ्रेंड कैट लिखने जा रही है, मैं बॉयफ्रेंड रहूं कैट के बाद, मैं भी साथ में उसके चले जाता हूं, सो दैट यू नो शी डजंट गेट समबडी न्यू, और वाइस वर्सा हैपेंस बोथ वेज हियर. सो you have to keep this in mind. And how can you realize that? You can realize that by just looking at a simple graph of यार 80 परसेंटाइल कितने मार्क्स पे आता है, 70 परसेंटाइल कितने मार्क्स पे आता है, एंड यू विल रियलाइज 20 मार्क्स पे 50 परसेंटाइल आता है, 55 परसेंटाइल आता है. क्यों? खाली 20 मार्क्स ओवरऑल कैट पे 55 परसेंटाइल, 6 क्वेश्चन पे 50% of India, 1,50,000 people score less than or are able to get less than 5 to 6 questions right in CAT. What does that tell you? They were not serious aspirants. They didn't put in too much effort. Hence always realize that कि जब आपका मॉक में कोई परसेंटाइल आ रहा है, you are competing only against the serious ones who've gone ahead and put in money, either their hard-earned money or their parents' hard-earned money. They are serious. They are putting in that effort every day. When you are going ahead and looking at your percentile in CAT, there are going to be about that 1 lakh who are not even your competitions. And इसीलिए हम बोलते हैं पेपर जब डिफिकल्ट होता है अच्छा होता है, बिकॉज ये कॉम्पिटिशन एकदम ही नहीं रहता. जब इजी होता है सडनली ये कंपटीशन में भी ये लोग 5 क्वेश्चन, 8 क्वेश्चन, 10 क्वेश्चन कर लेते हैं, राइट? सो दैट इज व्हाई योर कंपटीशन सडनली इज नाउ नो लॉन्गर 3 लाख पीपल, इट इज ओनली 2, बिकॉज आप उस 1 लाख से तो बेटर हो ही. तो होगा क्या, आप 30,000 में 15,000 रैंक है, लेकिन आपको रियलाइज होगा कि वो जो 2 लाख सीरियस एस्पिरेंट है, मैं अगर अज्यूम करूं, उसमें आपका रैंक प्रॉब्ली 1 लाख होगा. ओके, और उस 1 लाख जो एकदम एस्पिरेंट सीरियस नहीं थे उनसे तो आप बेटर हो ही. सो सडनली योर रैंक इज 1 लाख आउट ऑफ 3 लाख, इट्स अ 67 परसेंटाइल. So you are not going to be a 50 percentile, but it's going to be a 67 percentile, which means a 50 percentile in mocks could be equivalent to a 67, 70 in CAT. Please keep that in mind. Okay, obviously as you go up the higher end, 95, 97, 98, jump बहुत कम होगा, because वो serious वाले लोग ही तो है जो इतना high percentile लाएंगे, और उसके against तो आप compete कर ही रहे हो रोज. So please keep that in mind as well. These two are very important parameters. The closer you get to CAT, the jump will be lesser. The farther away you are from CAT, the jump will be higher. At this point in time, your 50 is equivalent to 70. August में बात कर रहे होंगे, I will not say 50 is equivalent to 70. I'll say it's equivalent to a 55. So please keep that in mind. Okay. 2 to 3 things to keep in mind. Obviously, starting early will help build familiarity and concepts. Consistency will ensure that you are able to track progress and refine strategies. And obviously, you learn from your mistakes and optimize performance. These are qualitative things which we have already spoken about, in the things we've done. Over to you, Ravi. Why don't you take us through the do's and don'ts?
So, first thing is you need to know your enemy, right? When it's like नेटफ्लिक्स पे सीरीज अगर कोई देखते हो ऐसा अमेरिकन सीरीज, तो ऐसा कोई CIA वाला चीज हो रहा है, तो they know their enemy, they plan their mission according to that, right? That this guy is going to be there, located there, this is how I am going to approach. So that is very, very important. That is the very first slide of tile over here. Get acquainted with CAT. If not mock test series, those of you who have, how many of you here, I'm asking, how many of you who are preparing for CAT 2025 and have not given or have not appeared for CAT 2024 have seen the question paper of CAT 2024 before deciding you want to do this, right? That is, I think, the first step. Do you know what to expect in the exam? Get acquainted with CAT. Once you get acquainted with CAT, you try to understand what are the intricacies, what are the types of questions that are there. And to your surprise, those of you who haven't started, those of you who think कि CAT में पता नहीं क्या आएगा, to your surprise, I am telling you, you go through CAT 2024 exam paper and try to solve those questions essay without timer, without stress. Go through those questions and try to attempt those questions. I am telling you, you will be able to get at least 4 questions right in each of the sections without any additional help, because all of us have gone to school at least, right? उतना तो हो ही जाएगा. You will basically get an idea कि बॉस ये पूछ क्या रहा है, what is the exam demanding of me. That is the first thing you need to understand. Then you build your stamina according to that. Then you build your stamina. Why? How do you build stamina? By preparing more and more, by appearing for more and more assessments. See, anything which is not assessed, you will not get even a ballpark idea of where you are. It's like you will always feel कि आपको आता है unless you are put in that stress within that time limit. That is where mock tests come up. Then you utilize your feedback, whatever is your feedback in that. Whatever is your feedback in the sense आपके marks अभी शायद कम आएंगे. It is designed for you to score less. See, if you were to score 100 marks today in a mock, do you even require a course? Ask yourself, right? It is designed to do that. So if you are supposed to prepare for the CAT, to be prepared, completely prepared for the CAT in over a period of 9 months, you are it's your responsibility to understand that you will probably not be at the apex at the beginning. You will start slow, and wahan se you will understand where you are going wrong, what are the types of questions I am doing wrong. Go back to your drawing board, learn that concept, come back stronger the next time. The other thing is, I think, jugaad solutions. The best, one of the best features in CL's mocks is the jugaad solutions for quant and some sets of DILR that GPSR provides. You know, irrespective of which stage you are in quant, you may be an engineer from the IITs, you may feel मेरा math बहुत तगड़ा है और मैं बहुत ही छावा आदमी हूँ उसमें. Look at GP's jugaad. He will find a way to surprise you. He will find a way to make you think, अरे ऐसा कैसे सोच सकता है एक आदमी. That is the way GP typically approaches questions, and that is when you will also actually, when you go through jugaad questions, that is where you will also learn jugaad solutions. That is where you will also learn that probably CAT is not all about knowing concepts alone. It is also a lot about playing smart, strategizing your attempt, playing smart in the exam, thinking outside the
And
box. That
presence
is
of
what,
mind. If I can
and
come in
presence
and
of
add
mind.
that, presence of mind.
That's it, right? Most importantly, be calm and stay consistent, right? Believe me, if you have a plan and you try to stick to it, time management will be the least of your issues, right? Time management is an issue to only people who don't prioritize a task A which has to be prioritized. ठीक है, अगर if you are looking at 50 years of your career after this, 60 years of your career after this, and you don't have time to take out for that, then what are you prioritizing in life? I don't know, right? That is a question you need to ask yourself. If you prioritize your tasks accordingly, you will be able to manage time accordingly, right? So that is primarily what you will learn when you take a lot of mocks, when you start early. These, all of these things can be worked on, and that is how you build your path towards success. GB, anything here?
No, perfect. I'm completely in sync. Things to avoid, I think, it's basically carry forward of what Ravi has been stating. उसको reverse कर दो और वो avoid कर लो, which basically means अगर मेहनत कर रहे हो, फाइट मार रहे हो, ऑटोमेटिकली मोटिवेटेड हो. आप डिमोटिवेट कब होगे? व्हेन यू आर टर्निंग अराउंड एंड कॉन्स्टेंटली पुटिंग इन द एफर्ट एंड यू आर सीइंग यार रिजल्ट में कुछ चेंज नहीं हो रहा. ऑलवेज कीप इन माइंड, रिजल्ट में इंस्टेंटली कुछ चेंज नहीं होगा, बट जिस दिन रिजल्ट में चेंज होगा उसके बाद वो एक्सपोनेंशियल चेंज आपको सडनली दिखेगा. सो हैव पेशेंस. The initial part where we spoke about, people should have patience, that is exactly what, if you have that, अगर आप पेशेंट हो तो आप डिमोटिवेट नहीं होगे बहुत जल्दी. पैनिक मत करो, रिलैक्स करो. There is not, it's not rocket science. While we are turning around and telling you कि हाँ डिफिकल्ट होता है, 50% भी नहीं आता, पर हम इतना भी कैटेगोरिकली बोलते रॉकेट साइंस नहीं है. तभी तो रवि ने बोला टुडे, आज जाके बैठोगे, फर्स्ट टाइम पेपर देखोगे, खुद आके बोलोगे हर सेक्शन में 4-4 क्वेश्चन होंगे, 12 होंगे, 36 मार्क्स आएंगे. 36 मार्क्स आना इज अबाउट 75-80 परसेंटाइल इवन लास्ट ईयर. वो होगा. सो इट्स नॉट रॉकेट साइंस. डोंट पैनिक. लव योर सेल्फ. टर्न अराउंड एंड स्टेट हाँ ठीक है, चिल है. अगेन डोंट टर्न अराउंड एंड टेल योर सेल्फ एवरी सिंगल डे, एवरी सिंगल मॉक के बाद, यार मेरा स्कोर अच्छा नहीं आ रहा, मेरा परसेंटाइल अच्छा नहीं आया, मैं अच्छा नहीं हूं. I've gone ahead, scored decently in CAT, but I've also gone ahead and written about 3 mocks where I scored 70 percentile, or maybe even 1 or 2 where I've scored below a 70 percentile. होता है, इंसान है. We should have bad days, and I would want the bad days to happen during the practice sessions. You don't want the bad day to happen in the World Cup final. And for you, the World Cup final is going to be 30th of November. That is your World Cup. You don't want a bad day there. You are happy having a bad day on 28th November, but not on 30th. I hope everybody remembers Ahmedabad, India, Australia. I don't want to remind the date. Okay. But I hope everybody remembers that. You don't want a bad day like that. You want it earlier. Okay. Next, missing mocks. A lot of you, and this is something Ravi spoke about right up front, which is, यार सर ये सिलेबस खत्म हो जाए ना फिर मॉक लिखूंगा. ये रवि का एक डायलॉग है जो मैं रिपीट कर रहा हूं, विच इज, रवि बोलता है उसको 10 साल हो गए, आज तक नहीं पता सिलेबस क्या है कैट का. तो मैं ये बोलता हूँ हाँ ठीक है, मेरे को 13 हो गए, मेरे को भी नहीं पता. बिकॉज नाइदर ऑफ अस नोज व्हाट द कैट सिलेबस इज, बिकॉज देयर इज नथिंग कॉल्ड सिलेबस इन कैट. देयर इज नथिंग. इस साल जो कैट में 2-4 क्वेश्चन आए, वो हम लोग सोचते नहीं कि ये करना है, बट eventually that question you'll be able to solve if you know your basics of arithmetic, or you know your basics of algebra, or you know your basics of geometry. The same type of question will not necessarily come that you've seen before. Okay, so there is nothing called syllabus out there. Don't wait for that. Don't go ahead and do that. Even if you joined the course yesterday na, and the mock is coming tomorrow, पहला लिख लो, देख लो मैं कहाँ हूं. जज योर सेल्फ ना. इफ यू गो बैक, आप कभी भी कोई भी एंट्रेंस एग्जाम जाते थे या कोई भी कोचिंग कभी पहले ज्वाइन करते थे, आप लोग क्या करते थे? हमेशा वो लोग बोलते थे एक एंट्रेंस टेस्ट लिखो, इसके बेसिस में आपको फी वेवर देंगे. आई हैव हर्ड दिस अ लॉट, इट हैपेंस एवरीवेयर. वो क्यों होता था? That entrance test fee waiver, forget the marketing or the business part of it, which you will learn soon when you go to a college and you'll understand how that happens. Let's look at the academic part of it, because it will give you belief that ये तो मैं कर सकता हूं, and you will be further inspired to go ahead and actually spend time and money on prep. You need to give yourself that belief. And like Ravi said, many a times we take the jump, but we've not given ourselves that आश्वासन और belief कि ये मेरे से capable हूं मैं ये करने के लिए. Do that. Don't leave those mocks. Don't leave that. Don't say मेरा last mock में 30 percentile आया इसलिए next mock नहीं लिखूंगा. जरूरत नहीं है. और अगर कभी ऐसा लगे, have a chat with one of the mentors. Sometimes we might only turn around and say एक काम कर, next 2 mock मत लिख, ये कर, उसके बाद जाके उसके बाद ये कर. We will also, it's not that this is the only holy grail. आज जो बोल दिया 10 चीज वही है. हर बंदे के लिए वो पर्सनलाइज होके चेंज होगा. बट इन जनरल, come back to the first thing, probabilistically, for greater proportion of the audience, greater proportion of students, this is what will work.
Yeah.
Please keep that in
Maybe
mind.
only one thing here. See, when we say syllabus नहीं है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि there is no way you can prepare for it either. देखो, quant to a large extent can be broken down topic wise, and you can say कि ये syllabus है, इसमें से questions आते हैं, right? But when it comes to DILR also, you can look at it as different types of questions, but there is no syllabus as such. मतलब different types of questions are there. Like there is a question type question stem type called arrangement. There's a question stem type called set theory. There's a question stem type called games and tournaments. Like that, we can categorize and look at those problems. But games and tournaments में games कितने तरीके के हैं? कभी क्रिकेट आएगा, कभी फुटबॉल, कभी चेस, कभी 2020 में जैवलिन आ गया था, बिकॉज 2021 में 2021 में जैवलिन के बारे में सेट है. जैवलिन किसी को पता था नीरज चोपड़ा से पहले? नहीं पता था, अनफॉर्चुनेटली. राइट. सो and when it comes to VARC, who wants to study about wild elephants in Africa? I don't know. I am not Anant Ambani. I am not doing that. Right? But you can expect a passage about wild elephants in Africa in VARC. There, anything under the sun happening on the earth could be a passage. An article written about that could be a passage picked for your exam in VRC. So that is where we say syllabus ऐसा there is nothing bound कि philosophy में इतना ही है, history में इतना ही है जो तुमको पढ़ना है. No, it's not that you are mugging up something and it will be asked in the exam. CAT doesn't, as an exam, doesn't test your memory power. CAT as an exam tests your analytical skills and how you deal with the problems in front of you. मतलब how do you find the best solution out of the situation that you are stuck in? That is what CAT is all about. And by the way, that is what management is all about. मतलब बाद में MBA करके तुम manager बनोगे तो what are you doing? You are solving real life business problems here. That is what it is all about, right? Finding best solutions with whatever resources you have. And that is what CAT tests you on. So that is why we say go ahead and say there is no syllabus. It's not like categorize ही नहीं कर सकते. There is a way, there are multiple ways in which we can categorize and go about the pedagogy of it, but largely there is no fixed syllabus कि इसके बाहर कुछ नहीं आएगा. Most places we will be covering you with 95% of what is required. That 5% we leave it to CAT. वो कैसे क्या सोचता है. No one can expect that.
Spot on. So continuing that train of thought, couple of other issues that some of you all will face sometimes or might face is, there is this thing ki I'll do self-study, and there is so much of content now out there. Whether you look at YouTube, you look at other resources, content hai. And अच्छा content bhi hai. There is no denying that fact. However, problem क्या होती है ना, sometimes इतने सारे resources होते हैं और इतने सारे जगहों में होते हैं, इतने सारे sources में होते हैं, we don't know which one to rely on and how much. ये पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक वहां अच्छा होगा, ये टॉपिक इधर अच्छा होगा, तीसरा टॉपिक वहां अच्छा होगा, क्वांट इसका अच्छा है, वर्बल उसका अच्छा है, डीएलआर इसका अच्छा है, यू डोंट नो. सो even if you are going to be one of those who is slightly unsure and thinks नहीं मेरे को तो फ्री रिसोर्सेज से ही करना है, उसके साथ में DLR 1000, VRC 1000, QA 1000 मॉक्स ले लूंगा, ये कर लूंगा. Well, we've gone ahead and tried our level best to resolve that as well. We've created a platform called OpenCat. So I would request all of you all to try it out, look at it. In OpenCat, we've gone ahead and pulled in all the resources that we had, that we are providing free of cost that students can utilize, so that you get at least one platform in which you have all resources that you need to refer to. You might realize after that मेरे को और भी कुछ चाहिए, feel free to enroll in something. You might realize after that मेरे को और कुछ नहीं चाहिए, enough है, इसके साथ mock test ले लूंगा या DLR VRC Q ऐसा कुछ ले लूंगा, मेरा हो जाएगा, great. So go ahead and look at that, but don't state, ये एक चीज होती है हमें कलेक्शन, हम कलेक्ट करेंगे, हम इधर के भी मॉक कलेक्ट करेंगे, वहां के भी करेंगे, 10 ऑफलाइन बुक्स भी लेंगे, मैंने इस बुक का नाम सुना है, उस बुक का नाम सुना है, वो भी ले लूंगा, 5 और ऑनलाइन रिसोर्स भी ले लूंगा, फिर यूट्यूब पे भी 10 चैनल फॉलो करूंगा, कंफ्यूज हो जाओगे भाई. डोंट डू दैट. फॉलो वन स्पेसिफिक थिंग, एट मैक्स 2 स्पेसिफिक थिंग्स एंड स्टे देयर. नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट, लाइक वी बीन टॉकिंग अबाउट, हर मॉक को एनालाइज करना. डोंट जंप फ्रॉम वन मॉक टू, सर ने तो बोला था मॉक सारे लिखने, एनालाइज नहीं करूंगा, लिखते रहूंगा, काम खत्म. नहीं, मॉक लिखो, समझो मिस्टेक्स क्या है, उस पर काम करो नेक्स्ट मॉक से पहले, तभी तो कुछ इंप्रूवमेंट दिखेगा. राइट? इट्स नॉट दैट आई नो आई कांट प्ले एन इन स्विंगिंग डिलीवरी, ओके आई कांट प्ले, बिग डील, जाऊंगा मैच में होप करूंगा इन स्विंग ना है, इन स्विंग ना है, इन स्विंग ना है. नहीं होने वाला भाई. दे ऑल नो इन स्विंग आता नहीं खेलना. यहां अगर विराट कोहली, दे ऑल नो कि 6th स्टंप पे बॉल करो, हाँ 5 स्लिप लगा दो, थैंक यू वेरी मच, होना है. You have to counter it, you have to play it. Okay, similarly you need to practice here, you need to ensure that you are analyzing and you're out of it. And finally the last thing, यार पता नहीं, मैं पंट्स लूंगा, गेस वर्क कर लेता हूं, क्या प्रॉब्लम है, गेस वर्क कर लेता हूं, 35 क्वेश्चंस गेस मार दूंगा, लक मेरा अच्छा हुआ तो राइट हो जाएगा. Doesn't work that way. This is not the NMAT exam. We'll talk a little bit about NMAT later on, but this is not going to be one of those exams where you should take so many punts, calculated punts. After you've gone ahead through all our sessions, GP will talk about it, Jijo will talk about it, Ravi will talk about it, I'll talk about it, everybody will talk about it. We'll talk about a lot of punts that we can go ahead and take basis specific understanding and presence of mind. Go ahead and do that, but don't just randomly attempt questions and lower your accuracy. It's not going to help. So please keep some of these pointers in mind. Ravi, anything you'd want to add?
I think that fourth point about collecting multiple resources, I think Shivku's statement is that Shivku has about 30 years of experience here. And Shivku states that the biggest issue I've seen over the years among students is they spend 80% of the time collecting resources and remaining 20% of the time on the whining on the vastness of the resources. See, when we went back 3-4 slides ago, GB, we were talking about 1,000 hours.
Yeah.
सीएल के ही तुमको मॉक्स और उसका एनालिसिस और मॉक और टेस्ट जिम टॉपिक टेस्ट सेक्शन टेस्ट और डेली डोज करने करते तुम्हारे 500 घंटे तो वहीं निकल जाएंगे. टाइम कहाँ है? Why to collect those? It reminds me of my lockdown days. पहले एक दिन का लॉकडाउन, फिर 3 दिन का लॉकडाउन, फिर एक जब 3 weeks का लॉकडाउन when it was announced, I went ahead and I purchased Netflix, Amazon Prime,
Hotstar.
Sony Live, असुर किसी पे आ रहा था वो भी खरीदा मैंने. एंड देन देयर इज दिस आई परचेज Z5. कुड यू बिलीव इट? आई परचेज Z5 आल्सो. बट उसके बाद मेरे को कुछ नहीं समझा मैं अभी क्या देखूं. It's the same problem. This happens with us a lot of time. I have Swiggy, I have Zomato, I have Food Panda, I have everything else. Your decision making will only get slowed down. Believe me. भूख ज्यादा लगेगी, पेट जल्दी नहीं भरेगा. वही होता है. If you waste time in, not wasting time, if you spend time in collecting a lot of resources, as BB correctly pointed out also, it will lead to a lot of confusion, right? Because every faculty will have his or her own style or way of approaching a particular problem, particular type of problem. Too much information is overkill. Avoid that.
Absolutely. So let's take a couple of questions. I'll take Raidu's question. Please suggest VRC sources and strategy. Considering where you are in your preparation at this point in time with about 8-9 months to go, the first thing I want you to focus on is get into the mode of reading. Get comfortable with reading and comprehending, which means try spending 30 to 45 minutes every day reading. And like Ravi pointed out, वो multiple genres से होना चाहिए, because तुम्हें पता नहीं elephants आ जाएंगे, तुम्हें पता नहीं एरोडायनामिक्स पे कोई सेट आ जाएगा, तुम्हें पता नहीं सोशियोलॉजी या साइकोलॉजी पे कुछ आ जाएगा. It won't necessarily be things that you enjoy reading. Like somebody like me, I only enjoy business oriented or enjoy cricket, which is sports. और ये दो हो सकता है ही ना. वो लोग हो सकता है लिटरेचर पे कुछ दे दे, बॉटनी पे कुछ दे दे, कुछ भी हो सकता है. सो गेट इनटू दिस मोड ऑफ रीडिंग एंड नॉट जस्ट रीडिंग व्हाट यू लाइक, बट to kickstart it could be start with reading what you like for the first 1 month, ताकि you get into the flow of reading. अगर अभी रीड करते ही नहीं हो, so first 30 days खाली क्रिकेट पढ़ा, खाली ये पढ़ा, खाली एंटरटेनमेंट पढ़ा, नो प्रॉब्लम. 31st डे से न्यू जॉनर इंट्रोड्यूस किया. बट इफ यू आर ऑलरेडी वन ऑफ दोज हु रीड्स, who's a voracious reader who likes reading books or something, then please start with across genres. Couple of sources I can recommend: Aeon, NYT, Guardian. ये सब पढ़ लो. Why? यहाँ से generally passages आते हैं. We've seen over the years roughly around 40 to 50% of the passages come from such sources. Hindu, nice thing to read. It will also help you during your GDPI preparation, right? So constantly stay at some of this. Reading is the only thing that I'll talk about as of today. Uske साथ साथ attend your classes. Ensure pre and post work of the class is done. जो पढ़ाया जा रहा है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द आरसी, जो पढ़ाया जा रहा है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द पैराजंबल, क्लास के बाद जाके प्रैक्टिस करो. लाइक रवि वाज स्टेटिंग, उसके साथ रोज रीडिंग करो. इफ यू आर वर्किंग, ट्रैवल टाइम पे रीड करो. इफ यू आर स्टडिंग इन कॉलेज, तो भी ट्रैवल टाइम पे रीड कर सकते हो. यूटिलाइज दीज टाइम्स, डोंट वेस्ट देम.
And
रवि, ओवर टू यू.
read as much as possible on screen. ठीक है? Even if you want
Oh,
to read a
totally,
newspaper, read an
totally,
e-newspaper. ठीक है?
absolutely.
Because what happens is, if on screen you are reading something on Kindle settings, exam में that screen is very bright, white पे black, right? Start reading that is black and white. ठीक है? No ऐसा, because that will and ऐसा नहीं है कि read for, if you read for half an hour every day, that will probably help you get acquainted with that kind of setting, ताकि उस दिन during the exam day, during mock test, you don't feel teary eyes. It is only getting your body acquainted to it.
Absolutely. Heads or tails, I'm guessing this is with respect to one source where you can read from. I would say Hindu newspaper को online read करो. उसके साथ साथ Aeon essays. You can start these two sources. This could be a good place to read. Career Launcher में भी CL के My Zone में also there are a lot of reading resources that we've provided. Go ahead and utilize those as well. So these 2-3 places you can kickstart with. Ravi, over to you. There are a couple of people asking about quant. Purvi stating quant से डर लगता है. Dil Dosti Dominoes is stating, sir, my quant basics are weak. How should I work on them? Why don't you share a couple of inputs?
पूर्वी, when you say sir quant से तो डर लगता है, see primarily I I have an impression that students are not intimidated by math. Students are intimidated by the way math is taught or math is approached. Okay? Because in school we were taught trigonometry in such a way कि हमको रटना पड़ा और रट के अपने को समझा नहीं कि उसका actual value क्या है. That is where people started hating math in school. As far as I remember, at least that was the case in my school, right? So in that sense, when you look at it and say quant से डर लगता है, you may be having a certain idea about certain topics which make that fear in you come out, right? Start with topics like arithmetic. Now when you look at arithmetic is 30 to 35% of the chunk of questions that appear in the CAT. And when you start preparing for arithmetic, you go conceptually step by step and start solving questions of arithmetic. After finishing those concepts, you'll typically realize arithmetic is nothing but everyday math that we apply in our life. Like you go to a denim store, you see a 40% off, you will be able to calculate then and there कि 40% off होने के बाद ये मेरे को कितने में मिलेगा. That is some logic that you are applying in life. It's only that you have not been questioned about it in life so far. Time, speed and distance, you apply that in life. Time and work, you apply that in life. When you start with arithmetic, that is primarily why most places we will be starting the course also with arithmetic, because arithmetic is everyday math. That once you master arithmetic, once you get to a certain comfort zone in arithmetic, you will automatically start feeling much more comfortable in topics like algebra and geometry, which are to follow. Don't start with, if math से डर लगता है 10th के बाद कभी math नहीं किया, don't start with algebra or don't start with geometry. CAT का preparation पूरा छोड़ देने का मन करेगा. Start with arithmetic, start with number system. These are two modules that even if you're doing self-study, start with these two topics, because these two topics are immensely important when it comes to both the quant section as well as the ILR section. So please make sure you're preparing from there, right? Remember, arithmetic and algebra taken together constitute about 70% of the questions in the CAT when it comes to QA, which was slightly different this year. 2024 may only about 60% questions were from these two modules all taken together. But in general, arithmetic and algebra will cover you enough. Along with that, if you are able to scratch the surface of algebra and geometry, you will be in a very good position to be able to solve 50% of the questions in quant. Remember, 50% of the questions in quant over the last 4 years is way above 99th percentile. Way about 99th percentile. So you will be in a very comfortable position by even being able to solve 50% of the questions. That is 11 questions in 40 minutes. That is roughly 3.5 minutes you get per question in the paper. It is pretty much doable. You have 9 months to go. As GB also showed one slide, इसमें एक question अगर आप improve करने का ये रखते, if you are getting only 3 questions out of 22 correct today, if you can improve one question every month, you are still reaching 12 questions. Remember that. And it's not that ये 9 महीने तुम idle बैठने वाले, you are going to prepare, so you are bound to improve. Don't worry about that.
So, Rachna, we've already spoken about it. The VARC 1000 course is expected hopefully in March, if not in March, by April for sure. Bradley, I'll pick up that question. As a CL student, how should I approach my quant and LRDI prep? Uh, like, how should I use the resources? So, I'll simplify this. The way I would look at it is, if you're already, like, since you've already said you're enrolled at CL, let's look at the resources. You got फंडा बुक. So before every class, आज टॉपिक क्या होने वाला है, मैं फंडा बुक से वो बेसिक टॉपिक के ऊपर पढ़ के जाऊंगा. आई रीड अप अ लिटिल बिट ऑन इट. नो कि आज कवर क्या होना है, थोड़ा बहुत मेरे को आइडिया हो. ये ना हो मेरे को लगे पता नहीं क्या एलियन कॉन्सेप्ट आज बात हो रही है. नहीं, आई हैव डन अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ माय प्री वर्क. आई हैव गॉन टू क्लास. In class, ask questions as and when you have doubts. Ensure that you're trying to understand the conceptual things. Ensure that in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, when the faculty is explaining the concept, you haven't come late to class. Don't join a 9:30 class at 9:50 and then hope I will understand the entire class, because it's possible you might have missed the basic concepts in the first 15, 20 minutes, which will then be applied through the rest of the class. Don't do that. Ensure you join in on class. Ensure you are there when the concept is taught. Ensure you ask once, ask twice. Ensure you ask that question. Obviously, no faculty will be able to repeat it more than two to three times in a particular class, because there's some amount that needs to be covered as well. But feel free to ask. Also ensure that the questions which come on screen, try solving them on your own. Then look at the methodology that the faculty has applied to solve it. Where did you go wrong? Did you conceptually not understand? Did you misread the question? Did you make a calculation error? Make a note of that. I would have a diary where I would keep these three columns created, and I would every day note, मेरे को conceptual problem आ रही है, मैं careless बंदा हूँ, मैं बहुत ज्यादा careless mistakes करता हूँ, या फिर मेरे को question समझ ही नहीं आता है. My understanding is a problem. Sometimes you will realize you are not being able to do well in quant because your verbal skills are slightly poor. Sometimes you are unable to identify what the author or what the question setter is trying to state. You might need to realize that I'll need to read more in English to be able to comprehend even a quant question. That's why we state it's a comprehension oriented exam. Same thing happens in DILR. Post class, then you should go back, you should revise what has happened, rewatch the video. Hope you've made notes during class. Go through those notes again. Try solving those same questions again on your own now, without looking at the video solution that is there. Then us same concept ka go to the topic test and try taking a couple of tests to ensure that you formalize that logic. Do this for the first class, second class, third class. फोर्थ क्लास ऑनवर्ड से क्या करोगे, फर्स्ट 3 क्लासेस का रिवीजन भी कंटिन्यूसली होना चाहिए. एक एग्जांपल लेता हूं. परसेंटेजेस खत्म हुआ, एवरेजेस गया, रेशियोस प्रपोर्शन आया, उसके बाद से SICI आया, PLD आया. By the time I reach SICI, I will also be solving 5 questions of percentages, 5 of averages, 5 of ratios, 5 of mixtures every day while this is happening. Otherwise, you will reach a situation where you've reached time, speed, distance, and you will turn around and state, oh my God, I don't remember what I had done in percentages. I don't remember what I had done in averages. Memory is our worst enemy. So make notes, constantly keep revising 2, 3, 4 questions of previous topics as well. That's the best way to approach the resources. Obviously, as and when mocks come, attempt that. Then in case you turn around and you realize I need specific additional help in any of the specific topics, you can reach out to the faculty. If after that also you feel I need something, you can look at additional courses like a DLR 1000, VRC 1000, QA 1000. But in general, if you are utilizing all the resources at your disposal, the funda book, the live classes, the videos of the live classes, solving the questions, doing the topic test, doing the sectional test, doing the mocks, doing the daily dose, if you're doing this religiously, you might not really need anything more. इसको cover करने में ही काफी time लग जाएगा. This is going to be very, very comprehensive, but utilize it the right way. Okay.
I think
So I hope
one
this.
very beautiful point, GB, that you have made, that in fact uplifts the relevance of taking mocks on time as per the schedule is, you finished the arithmetic. Okay, you finished arithmetic in the classes. Right now you are going ahead with algebra. While you finished arithmetic, you felt कि आपको arithmetic बहुत अच्छे से आ रहा है. You have solved questions also. You have practiced also. You think that you are doing good at profit loss and discount SICI. You take a mock. You're not able to solve a question of profit loss and discount. A mock will open your eyes and tell you कि probably what you think about yourself is not correct about that topic. Go back and revise that topic. Mocks will help being your bi-weekly reminders of your weaknesses along with your strengths. What are the topics जो touch में रहने के बिना भी आप रात को 2 बजे उठ के भी सॉल्व कर लोगे. एंड व्हाट आर द टॉपिक्स which you have practiced 100 questions of, still you are not able to master, probably one more round of revision is required in that. That is what mocks will really really help you with, because mocks कोई particular topic से नहीं आता. Mock tests are an amalgamation of all different types of topics. So while you are preparing for algebra in your class, you will face a question of arithmetic in the mock, and you will have to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, how much more of arithmetic do I have to prepare?
Absolutely spot on. Okay, I'm sure everybody is aware, but quickly taking you through the important dates that you need to keep in mind. Generally जो last Sunday of July होता है उसमें CAT notification आता है. तो while we said 29th 30th, it will probably come out on the 27th of July. The CAT notification becomes important because it will tell you a little bit about the exact date of the exam. Also it will tell you कि आपका application window कब शुरू हो रहा है, right? So you can go ahead and kickstart your registration. Generally registration process जो है वो खुला रहता है for roughly about a month or so. So August first week generally it should go ahead and kickstart, and it should continue till about mid of September. In October, there will be a sample mock that comes out. That sample mock is not really going to give you any idea of what the paper pattern is going to be, या फिर the distribution of questions or anything, वो मत सोचना. The only advantage of the sample mock is interface समझ आ जाएगा कि कुछ interface पे change किया है कि नहीं. उसके अलावा और कोई advantage नहीं होगा sample mock का. So don't be very dependent on that. And obviously the final exam which is going to happen on the 30th. But before that, 2 to 3 weeks before that, the most important aspect of this exam cycle is going to happen, which is the admit card. That is going to tell you कि आपका exam 8:30 है, 12:30 है या 4:30 है. Now ये जो 8:30 वाला होता है ना, और हमारा भी इस बार था, हम दोनों का, we both had it at 8:30 this time. The problem with that is the reporting time for that is about 7:30. So you will want to be there by then. So for in some cases it could be 7. Many students end up getting places which are 100 kilometers away from home, 60 kilometers away from home. You will need to travel for an hour. That means you need to leave home at 6. Obviously for that you need to get up at 5:15, 5:30. You don't want to be in a situation where you are going for the most important exam of your life, which is going to define the next 50 years, getting up at 5:45 and you're not used to it and you're feeling sleepy. That is why you need to go ahead and get this as a part of your routine. And I would suggest to as many of y'all as possible that if you start getting up early from today, all 3 slots are handled, because there is no slot which is going to happen at 10:30 at night or 12:30 तक चलेगा. So एक suggestion है, अगर कर पाओ, start getting up early from today and get into this habit of 5:30. Even if you can't do it now, at least start by August, not later than that. They generally state it takes 21 days to become a habit, but getting up early को habit बनाने के लिए 2 से 3 महीने लग जाते हैं, because your entire cycle changes. Every single aspect related to how you operate changes. Also, important things that I would keep in mind, these are intangibles that I used to look at. यार अगर 12:30 to 2:30 आ गया, lunch उस time नहीं करना चाहिए. Can I get my biological clock in such a way कि मेरे को भूख lunch की 3 बजे लगे, या मेरे को lunch करना हो 12 बजे. अगर 4:30 to 6:30 आ गया, I shouldn't be one of those who is very tired every day in the evening. I shouldn't be one of those who'sko evening में रोज चाय चाहिए 4:30 से 6:30. There are certain intangibles. Pointing it out very very early, you might not want to take that into consideration today, but come August, September, at least these 2-3 things also you would want to take into consideration, because all of this impacting you by even 1 question or 2 question is a huge difference in percentile at the higher end, and you don't want those things happening. Will the DLR 1000 course be included in the CAT course? So DLR 1000, QA 1000, VRC 1000, all different courses. In case you feel you need additional help in any of the sections, you can go ahead and enroll in it. It's not a part of any course. In case you feel that you need additional, you can look at it, but you might generally not need some additional help. This is the mock schedule. This is something we wanted to share with you. All of you all would be aware. It is there in your MyZone, but we've put it out here as well. One launchpad mock has happened. We're actually looking at another mock happening in the last week of February as well. So that means a second mock would actually kickstart a little early. It might happen in the last week of February. That means one of the later mocks would be preponed a little. So expect one mock in February as well. Then after that, as you can see, every month there are going to be at least 2 mocks. 2 in March, 2 in April, 2 in May, देन यू गो टू जून एंड सडनली यू सी जून में भी 2 है, जुलाई में अब सडनली 4 आ जाते हैं, अगस्त में 4 हो जाते हैं, सितंबर में 4 हो जाते हैं, अक्टूबर में 5 हो जाते हैं, नवंबर में अबाउट 4-5 हो जाते हैं, बिकॉज दैट्स एग्जैक्टली व्हाट योर साइकिल ऑफ writing mocks would be, because disproportionate time upfront would be spent in learning and disproportionate time towards the end would be spent in assessment by you. Hence mocks scheduled in such a way, but go ahead and utilize this schedule to your advantage. मतलब स्टार्टिंग में जब मॉक्स हो रहे उसको उस टाइम पे लिखो, उससे लर्निंग लो, एनालाइज करो, utilize all the advantages. In the remarks, as you can see, there are video solutions for every mock, and you will go ahead and see that there are certain mocks like the CDC Flexi 6, Pro 4, Pro 8, Pro 14, where you're also going to get video attempt. That means one of us, GP, Jijo, Ravi, me, one of us is going to go ahead and attempt that entire paper like a mock, and we'll show you how. We'll also end up making those mistakes, but we'll show you how we handle those 2 hours. हम भी स्ट्रेस में होते हैं, हमें भी टेंशन होती है, हम भी गलत क्वेश्चन उठाते हैं, हम भी गलत सेट उठाते हैं, हर बंदे से वो होता है. आपको क्या लगता है इस साल कैट में जाके हम लोग ने नहीं किया? मैंने मेरे द सेकंड सेट आई पिक्ड अप वाज रॉन्ग, आई शुडंट हैव पिक्ड दैट अप. हर साल होता है. So that will happen with you, it will happen with us. The difference is going to be, we'll probably not be that stressed because there is not so much at our so much that we need to worry about, because our life is not going to change with respect to cat, but for your life is going to change with respect to cat. So it is important for you to learn these things. गलत कुछ कर लिया कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, कैसे एक स्टेप बैक लेना है और फिर आगे बढ़ना है फुल फोर्स में. Hence utilize all these things that are going to be provided to you. Ravi, anything you would like to add here?
The only thing is, see, there are two types of mocks. Largely, you can see one is CDC Flexi, and one type of mock is CDC Flexi, and the other types of mocks are CDC Pro. The only difference, there is no structural difference, there is no content difference, there is no video solution difference, nothing. The only difference primarily is the availability of those mocks in flexible times. It's the same logic this year also, GB, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
CDC Pro mocks will be available only in that particular window. CDC Flexi will be perennially available, which you can take flexibly at any point in time. But we suggest you take mocks, you appear for mocks as and when they appear, because people who have been dealing with students for more than 25 years have put their mind and have made a schedule for the mocks to go live. कुछ तो सोचा होगा कि इस हिसाब से करने से प्रैक्टिस आएगा, बन के आएगा बच्चों का, right? So trust us with that and take the mocks, appear for the mocks as and when they go live.
One thing, and this is just a simple calendar. This is what I had done during my preparation. I used to have a calendar which I had kept in my room. दो थे, एक ये था और एक कैलेंडर वो परसेंटेज फ्रैक्शन टू परसेंटेज कन्वर्जन वाला. दो कैलेंडर मेरे पास रहते थे. एक वो चार्ट है और ये कैलेंडर है. उस कैलेंडर में मैं ये मॉक्स के ना डेट्स मार्क कर देता था एंड द इंपॉर्टेंट डेट्स ऑफ एग्जाम्स मार्क कर देता था. My suggestion to you is just get a calendar for your room, mark these, think of every single mock as a very, very important milestone for you. And what is going to be your takeaway from that milestone? For you, the milestone could be first mock 20 percentile. That's also a milestone. For somebody else, it could be first mock 80 percentile. For a third person, it could be first mock 95. मैं repeater हूँ, मेरे को तो पहले में ही 95 चाहिए. Everything is a milestone. कोई माइलस्टोन होना है. फॉर समबडी एल्स द माइलस्टोन कुड बी, यार ये वाले टॉपिक के कुछ भी क्वेश्चन आएंगे ना, ये मैं हैंडल कर लूंगा. माइलस्टोन आप खुद डिफाइन करो और वो माइलस्टोन को अचीव करो. प्लीज गो ahead and put this and utilize it to your advantage. Okay. So why students choose the CL test series, what is it, and how you should be utilizing the mock tests now? This is something that we'll stress on, probably just another 5-10 minutes and we'll be done. These are the advantages in terms of, obviously there are going to be AI driven performance insights, AI driven percentile predictor, video attempts we've spoken about, video solutions we've spoken about, attempting 30 mocks, adaptive test gym, simulated cat experience. But I don't want to talk about all this. वो theoretical है. Important part क्या है? आपको हर CDC Pro mock का आपको जीपी का, लाइक रवि हैड स्टेटेड, जुगाड़ सोल्यूशन मिलने वाले हैं, वेर इज गोइंग टू पिक अप द क्वांट क्वेश्चन एंड स्टेट. यार इसमें ना तुम्हें रियलाइज नहीं हुआ, ये परसेंटेज जो आंसर आना था क्वेश्चन देख के समझ आ रहा है 60% से ज्यादा होना था. ऑप्शंस देखो, ऑप्शन में एक ही है जो 60% से ज्यादा है, वो कर लेते. क्या बैठ के तुम मेहनत कर रहे थे? ठीक है. दो सॉर्ट ऑफ इनसाइट्स, दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ थिंकिंग ऑन हिज फीट, is something that GP will bring onto the table, which you can go ahead and utilize. Okay, अब ये नहीं है हर क्वेश्चन जुगाड़ से होगा. There will be specific tips and tricks that you can apply in certain scenarios and certain questions. That is going to be an advantage. In addition to that, every single CDC Pro mock, there is going to be a video solution. The CDC Pro video solutions in general are going to be taken by the 5 faculty on your screen, which is GP, Shivku, Jijo, Ravi and I. जनरली द सीडीसी रवि के नाम के रवि के पिक्चर के नीचे शशांक का नाम लिख दिया है, सो अपोलोजाइज फॉर दैट एरर. द सीडीसी फ्लेक्सी मॉक्स, Shashank, Naveen, Abhilasha, sometimes even us, we'll go ahead and create the video solutions for that. So there are going to be video solutions for every mock. This is what Ravi was talking about in terms of pro and flexi. Pro के दो एडवांटेज है. एक जो रवि ने बोला, विच मीन्स एक स्पेसिफिक टाइम पीरियड में आप लोगे, सो विच इज बाय स्टार्टिंग अर्ली हेल्प्स, ताकि आप उसी टाइम पीरियड में लेके आपको एक्चुअल हो. नहीं तो बाद में वो प्रो वाले बहुत लेट खुलते हैं. They open only in the month of September, October. So all these pros that you miss now, they will only unlock in September, October. उससे पहले नहीं होगा. Some of them don't even unlock. That is also predefined and decided. So have a look at that. Hence you should enroll early. Hence you should take them early. One. Secondly, the most important part, जो मैं अभी थोड़े टाइम पहले बोल रहा था, you don't know कौन सा slot CAT में आएगा. Right? So हम क्या करते हैं? Each of these pro mocks, they generally happen say from Friday to Sunday or Saturday to Monday. समझो Friday to Sunday है. Friday to Sunday, each of these days, there'll be 3 slots, 8:30, 12:30, 4:30. Write the mock in the actual slot of the CAT exam. And across these, the first 8-10 pro mocks, na, my recommendation, first 9 में 3 लिखो 8:30, 3 लिखो 12:30, 3 लिखो 4:30. You write all 3. Utilize that to your advantage. Learn from it. These intangibles that we talk about, we have encompassed it and provided it as a part of the course curriculum itself. You don't need to go ahead and do anything. You just go ahead and choose that slot which helps you learn something from this paper. So please utilize that as well. Ensure that you write those mocks across those 3 slots. Okay. And finally, in every mock, you will know where you stand vis-a-vis the toppers, where you stand vis-a-vis the people who've actually paid in the money, who are very serious. So you know exactly where you are. And finally, every single pro mock का YT पे एनालिसिस होता है. जैसे आज ये सेशन हुआ, समझो अगर फ्राइडे टू संडे वो प्रो मॉक था, मंडे को YT पे एनालिसिस होगा at 8 PM, where we'll come in, we'll talk about what the mindset of the paper setter was, इस सेक्शन को कैसे अटेम्प्ट कर सकते थे, what are the common errors students made, how can you evade that, how can you improve, and multiple other things. Some of you all were asking where is Jijo. Jijo will come for those sessions. Where is GP. GP will come for those sessions. और अगर हमसे ऑलरेडी नफरत नहीं हुई तो हम भी आएंगे थोड़ा बहुत, ठीक है, उन सेशंस में. And then obviously, I hope you are aware, there is an exclusive Telegram groups for all test series students as well. Unlike what some others do, we also have a Telegram group just for test series students, where Ravi is very popular. Basis the last year Telegram group, used to go ahead and solve a lot of doubts. अब तो रात को वैसे भी इसको कम सोने को मिल रहा है, तो और ज्यादा फ्री होगा ये होपफुली 2-3 महीने में रातों को डाउट सॉल्व करने के लिए. But yeah, there's a Telegram group where you can go ahead and post your doubts, and the faculty are there, mentors are there, subject matter experts are there. So while you yourself will be helping each other out, we'll also come in as and when needed to solve your doubts. So these are some of the advantages that you have with respect to the test series, and this is exactly what your analysis looks like. This is just a dummy that we've put in कि 2 मार्क पे भी देखो 5 परसेंटाइल आ गया. कैट में शायद 2 मार्क पे 20-25 परसेंटाइल आ जाता. But this is something that you get in terms of booster analysis. Every single question that you attempted, you will be able to go ahead and analyze. Sometimes, like Ravi was stating, it is important to leave questions as well. So वो question जो सही था कि आपने छोड़ा, उस पे शाबाशी खुद को देना is also important for you to know. So that is something you will get. वो question जो आपके area of strength से था, but you missed it or you did not attempt, आप unforced error in tennis terminology, or a missed shot in cricket terminology, those sort of things would be there. So there's a booster analysis for your mocks as well. Go ahead and utilize it in totality. And finally, one last thing is the complete drill down analysis, which means at the end of every mock, एक जगह में जाके topic wise, you can look at all questions that came from a particular topic across all mocks. Imagine मेरे को time speed distance में problem है, मैं अगस्त में बैठा हूं, 15 मॉक हो चुके हैं, I can go to drill down analysis, All questions of time, speed, distance across 15 mocks I'll get in one place and I can look at it and analyze. That's how drill down analysis can be utilized. This and much, much more. A lot of this has been done by Ravi over the last few years. A lot was done by me. Sazil and team work on this at this point in time. A lot of us have come together, and like Ravi likes stating, people with 15, 20, 25 years of experience have done this. कुछ तो use होगा, utilize कर लो. Ravi, anything you'd like to add?
That's it. I think there, we also are known in the market to spoil students with a lot of choice. So there are multiple different types of courses that you can
Oh
look on your
yes,
screen. Look at on your screen over here. So different types of CAT test series itself. We have 5 different courses available for you to enroll into. The first one is CAT 2025 test series. It essentially only has the mock tests related to CAT along with the topic tests, right? The second one, coming to CAT 2025 test series comprehensive, also has CAT sectional tests. By the way, the first 2 courses are only specific to CAT and do not include other non-CAT exams, as we call them. The other exams like NMAT, SNAP are not a part of the first 2 course offerings over here. Anything that in CL, anything that starts with MBA and not CAT, MBA will include everything, all CAT as well as other non-CAT exams, which include NMAT, SNAP. Couple of years ago, there was IFT, जो अभी है नहीं, and then there is that, right? So,
that's it.
but
CMAT, XGMT, multiple exams. Yeah.
yeah, multiple exams will be covered in those. So you can pick and choose which kind of preparation you require, whether you are preparing for the CAT alone or whether you are preparing for all exams. I suggest for anyone who is taking the first attempt at the CAT, keep yourself open to other colleges, other institutes also. You know, don't be adamant कि मुझे CAT ही लिखना है. Appear for all exams, then go for the IIMs. क्या जाता है, right? You can have 2 types of problems in your life. One is having too few options to choose from. 2 is having too many options to choose from. The better problem is the second one. So, appear for as many exams as possible among these, of all different types of exams, and you'll be able to appreciate why I am saying this probably a year later.
Absolutely.
I
Just one thing which I want to add here is, look at the absolute last row, which is raised to 99 percentile. That's a very, very specific, USP of Career Launcher, where we go ahead and we talk a little bit about our entire methodology and pedagogy, all crunched into a 1-day workshop. And we do this 3 times a year. We do it, sometime in March generally, followed up, sometime in around May, June, or July, August, and then once again doing it in September, October. This time, however, and this is why I want to talk about it, we are preponing it. The race to 99 percentile head start, which generally happens in March, April, this time is actually happening this Sunday. It is happening on the 23rd of February. So please go ahead and ensure that you join that session. वो session YouTube पे होगा, so it is freely available. In case some of you have not enrolled, that particular session you're going to get on YouTube. The other 2 are not going to be freely available. The other 2 are T99. It's only for our paid students who would have enrolled with us. So this particular session, we'll go ahead and catch a few of us as we go ahead and discuss our pedagogy and actually pick up last year's CAT 2024 slot 1 paper and apply that pedagogy, all bringing it down just 1 hour per section to showcase to you कि actually इस pedagogy को कैसे apply कर सकते हैं and utilize कर सकते हैं. Don't go ahead and miss that. And also there is a line in between which is daily dose, which is we come up with 1 question per day, across sections that we provide starting from around March, April, which works as a revision mechanism every single day in terms of revising topics that you would have already done. So ensure that you utilize these 2 things to the hilt as well. Don't miss out on any of them. I see Utsav stating, I wrote CAT 2024 without prep, scored 73 percentile, wrote the first mock in Jan, scored 42 and felt demotivated. But now, after this session, feeling motivated and I will work very hard to score the best. Good to hear that. Both of us are happy that we were able to motivate you a little. Hopefully now this translates it to results. Please ensure that you go ahead and do the same. Work hard, keep practicing as much as possible. Finally, a couple of things that students go ahead and talk about in terms of our test series. Don't really want to put it too much. You know what the test series is and what we bring onto the table, but this is some of what students had to say in the test series group, in the open group that we have. If you haven't already, go ahead and go ahead and at least join the CL group. This is an open Telegram group for MBA 2025, which means students can go ahead, post doubts and everything. A lot of students are already a part of it. You can go ahead and join that. You can also join our Instagram channel. We have a very wacky Instagram, very happening with Instagram as well, with a lot of memes that might interest you all at this point in time. And finally, the Open Cat channel that I was talking about. In case you're looking at self prep, this is going to be a one-stop resource for you, stop place where you're going to get everything at your disposal. Supplement that with a couple of courses and you'll be good to go. But that's basically it from our end in terms of what we wanted to bring today. Hopefully this is something that has motivated you all. Hopefully this is something that keeps you all in good stead, and hopefully you realize what we've been trying to pinpoint towards, which is start early to stay ahead, not because it is going to help us, but because it is going to help you manage a number of things at the same time. And we do not want you to be in a situation where suddenly 3 months 4 months down the line you come back and state बहुत कुछ करने को अब टाइम ही नहीं है लाइफ में, और कुछ मैं कर नहीं सकती या कर नहीं सकता, और उस स्ट्रेस में उस पैनिक में और ज्यादा खराब हो परफॉर्मेंस. You don't want that to happen. Similarly, just one last question. Somebody had stated my course ends this year. Should I take a job or not? My answer to that is always very, very simple. If you're going to be one of those who does not take a job, and then each time in your preparation something goes wrong, you turn around and crib, अब तो नौकरी भी नहीं है, जॉब भी नहीं है, और उसके वजह से ज्यादा स्ट्रेस होता है, जिसके वजह से परफॉर्मेंस इन मॉक्स एंड परफॉर्मेंस इन प्रेपरेशन और खराब होती है, प्लीज टेक अ जॉब. Please take it. Because the problem generally is people don't take it, and then each time they don't perform well, they take stress कि ये भी नहीं हो रहा, वो भी नहीं हो रहा, जिंदगी खराब हो रही है, and they keep doing worse. अगर आप ऐसे हो, अगर आपको वो थोड़ा स्ट्रेंथ नहीं है in your mind where you know even if I don't do well, at least I will not turn around and blame my decision of not joining a firm. If you're not going to be one of those where you are going to be very, very clear, I will not blame my decision of not joining a firm, then please take a job. But if you are one of those who says, नहीं, ये मैं क्लियर हूं, मेरे को इसको प्रायोरिटाइज करना और कुछ नहीं, चाहे हो ना हो, ये डिसीजन तो सही है, एंड आई वुड अग्री विद दैट कि वो डिसीजन सही है, बट only if you are one of those who's not going to take that stress. Because ये हम लोग, at least personally between Ravi and me, बहुत we've come across a lot of students. We tell them something and then they start taking stress. Hence we want to make this very, very clear. अपने stress levels के accordingly अपने decisions लेना जिंदगी में.
That's a very subtle way of putting across the every Indian middle class student should take up the job. जीबी क्योंकि अगर तुम खुद को नहीं कर सकते तो कम से कम घर वाले को सही.
Don't use the word middle class. This is the time of IIM interviews. I still get nightmares of my IIM Lucknow interview. गलती से middle class बोल दिया था. Next question was statistically बताओ. Median बोलना पड़ा. मीडियन से मीन मीडियन मोड गया, वहां से नॉर्मल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन गया, वहां से हाइपोथेसिस टेस्टिंग गया, वहां से अनोवा गया. एक मिडिल क्लास took me to ANOVA, so let's not get there. But yeah,
well played GB.
Okay, so that's about it, guys, from our end. Hopefully this was helpful. Thanks Keshav, thanks Ishita, good to hear from you all. If you liked it, share it with your friends as well. Go like the session as well. It helps Neha, Shruti and the entire team working at the back end and keeps them motivated. That's it from our end. We'll keep meeting each other a little bit more, and in case some of you all are in the night classes batch of Career Launcher, you'll find Ravi and me a lot more, or you'll meet us a lot more in your batch itself. So goodbye for now. See you soon. Bye bye.
All the best guys. Bye bye.